In this video we will discuss firewall technologies. Let's discuss what is firewall. Even though there is no specific definition of firewall nowadays, because nowadays firewall can do a lot of things. However, in simple words, a firewall can be a system, it can be a device, it can be a software which is normally placed between trusted network and untrusted network. This is just a simple definition. However, nowadays we can keep the firewall everywhere in organization. It can be from trusted network to trusted network. It can be in data center. It can be in the perimeter. It can be on the edge. It can be anywhere. It can be to protect some services. It can be to protect data center servers. However, the main purpose is to protect and to stop and mitigate unauthorized access. So we use this security device for multiple purpose nowadays. So this is a device. Keep in mind, it can be a device. It can be a software base. It can be a hardware. It can be both. It can be the combination. It can be a cloud base. It can be a virtual. So you can deploy the firewall different way, and maybe in the combination of these. It can be hardware based, a physical appliance to deploy. It can be software based. It can be cloud based in the cloud, and it can be virtual. So it's up to you and how the organization want to use them to protect their services. Now this firewall can monitor and check incoming and outgoing network related traffic as well. And you need to configure policies to allow or deny the access from between zones. It can be from untrusted zone to trusted zone, from trusted zone to untrusted zone, and it can be between different zone. So whenever there is a traffic, it will allow them or reject them as per your policies. Now we divide this firewall in three generations. First generation firewall technology was packet filter technology. Second generation firewall start application layer technologies. And third generation firewall, which we call them stateful filter inspection, either we call them next generation firewall. Now you can use these firewall in your corporate network or to secure your home. There are different type of firewall, small, big, large, different model of firewall which you can use in different companies of firewall. But the main goal is for protection. Okay, your services and resources. So we have Palo Alto firewall, we have Juniper network firewall, Cisco SA, Cisco FTD, and so many other firewall. Fortinet has different type of firewall. We have a Checkpoint, which is also very famous, and so many other. These are the top of firewall. So now you get the idea what is firewall. Okay, so let's start to discuss a different type of firewall. The first one is stateful firewall. State means to keep the state of the connection. So whenever the packet is traveling, is passing through the firewall, it will keep the information of that connection, that packet in the state table. Every firewall has their own way to keep the connection detail. So when they are going out, they will keep the detail. And normally there will be source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, means what type of that one, the flags, maybe sequence number and acknowledgement, and so many other detail. Every firewall has a different way to keep the information. It's like if you're going out from your home and you have a secure home, so the security guard will keep the information that when this guy go out and when he will come back, so I will allow them, and he will keep the detail, username, where he want to go, from where he went, which time he leave the house. So all these information we call them state table to keep the detail. Now, what is the advantages? This is the next generation firewall feature as well. So when the traffic coming back, so it will check first that state table. If the information is there, the packet will be allowed automatically. We don't need to create another rule to allow them. So this is the advantages to use stateful firewall. It will keep the detail. If it is match, it will be allowed automatically. That's why in next generation firewall, we normally allow the traffic, or we create only one rule from inside to outside, and the return is automatically allowed due to the stateful firewall feature, because it's keep the information. Suppose you go out from your home, security guard no, but when you come back, it will allow you without asking you any information. But if you are coming directly from outside, they will deny you that you need a rule to come inside. You get the idea? Now coming to the second type of firewall, stateless, which never keep the state table, and it will restrict and block the packet. You need to create two rules from in to out and out to in, because the stateless firewall don't know. It will allow the packet based on the source and destination address, or maybe based on any other static value, and it is not aware of any traffic pattern, any traffic flow. It's like a access list. So access list will allow the traffic, but if you coming back, you need another ACL to allow you. So you get the idea, because they don't know. This type of firewall is called stateless firewall. Another type of firewall is packet filter firewall. Packet filter firewall, we normally call them accessless, using accessless such as extended ACL, name ACL, okay, standard ACL. All these are called the packet filter firewall. Based on the source and destination, we will allow the traffic. So we have a source IP, we have destination port, we have protocol to allow or deny, which anybody can bypass this one. If you change your IP, you will be allowed. If you keep this IP, if you hop the port, so you will be allowed. So this was the old type of firewall. We call them packet filter firewall, okay, which can easily be deceived, and anybody can bypass this type of firewall. Even this one as well, the stateless firewall. Now coming to the third type of firewall is proxy firewall. Proxy means it will play the role of proxy between your client, internal LAN user, and the internet. It is like a proxy between client and destination server. So this type of firewall receive the traffic from the inside LAN, and what they will do, you need to send the traffic to proxy firewall. Proxy firewall will generate another session to the internet, and when they get the result, they will forward them to the user. So there is no direct communication of the user to the internet. These user will send the traffic to proxy firewall. Client request will go to the proxy request to the internet reply to proxy firewall return the traffic to the client. So it's like a middleman between. And this way we can keep the we can keep the most visited URL. So if these users try to access the same thing, so proxy will provide them. However, there is a single point of failure, and also it's require more memory, and also disk intensive to keep a lot of information. So this is called proxy firewall. Another type of firewall is application firewall, which work on the application layer of OSI reference model. And the traffic will be controlled or allowed or denied based on the application level. So we can use this as a cache server to increase the performance. The most visited website will be accessed automatically. So this is another type of application firewall. Here now we have a source and destination and application such as DNS, SMTP, protocol UDP and TCP. So this is called application firewall. We have another type of firewall, personal firewall, which is a software based firewall. Normally you will install on the endpoint, okay, and you can use the default one. Every window and also Linux has their own personal firewall as well, which you can utilize, and you can block a lot of traffic. And also there is corporate level of a personal firewall endpoint protection, which you need to install on the devices to protect the traffic, which, and you can control the traffic which leaving the host and which coming to the host. So this is another type of firewall. And normally in big organization you will see endpoint protection antivirus, such as we have Kaspersky, and we have other antivirus type of personal firewall available to protect a single host, single device, okay. And we have their own as well, which is installed. Windows has their own, and also Linux has their own. Another type of firewall is transparent, which is not visible. It is work like a layer 2 to forward the frame based on the source and destination MAC address, and it will filter the traffic from layer 2 to layer 7 OSI model, okay. And it can protect, as we call them a bridge mode as well. So we have the same subnet 192.168.12 and 12. You just plug your firewall, transparent firewall, and it's not visible to the both side of the network. So that's why we call them transparent firewall, okay. The only thing is it does not support dynamic routing protocol and VPN and such things, okay, depend on the firewall. But again, it's invisible to the devices, but still you can protect your network. And just like a plug and play transparent firewall. Then we have a virtual wire firewall. And the main purpose of virtual wire firewall to virtually logically connect two network, two interfaces, logically bind two interfaces together. Okay, and again such type of firewall does not require any changes in the network, similar like a transparent firewall. But this you will find in Palo Alto firewall, virtual wire, just to plug two network to work together. It still support application ID, user ID, content ID, net and decryption, encryption and decryption, but maybe it does not support routing. But it is also, we also call them V-wire. So if you want to join us like a cable, two cable, and you want to join them together, so similarly we have virtual wire firewall. Then we have a traditional network firewall, okay, which work based on the source IP, source port, and destination IP and destination port. Again, it can be hop, it can be easily bypass, which was the traditional firewall in old days. Then we have a zone-based firewall. Normally the Cisco iOS router, we can create a zone and we can make them as a firewall. Small organization use this one when they don't have firewall, so they can make a Cisco router as a firewall. They can create zone and they can assign interfaces to different zone, and they can apply the firewall policy to protect. So we have private, we have DMZ, internet, and they can protect their zone and data in such way. So we call them zone-based firewall. Then we have another type of firewall, cloud-based firewall, software-based, which deploy in the cloud to protect your private network. Maybe you have a cloud when you trying to access those cloud applications, so you need a cloud-based firewall, such as firewall as a services and security as a services, an example of cloud-based firewall. So it is designed for the modern business need. So you have a cloud application and you're trying to access those. So for that we need to install cloud-based firewall. Okay. Then we have a virtual firewall. You can deploy the same firewall virtually. Okay, to protect virtualized environment, or maybe you want to deploy them virtually your appliance. It's up to you. You can get the physical appliance and you can deploy them virtually in your virtual environment. So such stuff, it will do the same thing. It will control, it will manage, it will protect the same way as like a physical firewall. But you don't need a physical firewall. You want to deploy them virtually. Okay. Then we have a UTM. UTM means Unified Threat Management. what they will do each and everything which next generation firewall do almost, but only thing it will do it one by one. How they will do? So when the traffic come from the LAN, so it will check the URL, then it will check the antivirus, then it will check quality of services, data leak prevention, proxy and IPS, and so many things one by one. So it's providing all the feature, but not at once. One by one it will go from one to another, which require more time to the packet. So this is called UTM. So there is a UTM type of firewall as well, which can protect your network and it's do a lot of things, and it can be hardware and software based as well. Now coming to, but you cannot consider them as a next generation firewall because it's not doing all the thing at once, but it's taking to send them. It's like a counters. You enter the building, they say go to that counter. Now you are clear, go to another counter. You are clear, go to another counter. Now coming to the next generation firewall, which we will discuss separately as well. Next generation firewall has all the traditional firewall and all the UTM features, but they do extra thing as well. Application awareness, control and ID awareness, means user ID, identification. The traffic can be allowed or denied based on user ID. The traffic can be allowed and denied based on application as well. So they have all the facilities, but they have content ID as well. There is an antivirus, there is a IPS, there is a DLP, there is quality of service, there is antivirus, there is URL filtering, there is IPS, and so many things. But all these things will be happen at once. So that's why we call them next generation firewall. And also they do deep packet inspection plus. So they can provide you user ID, they can provide you content ID, they can provide you what is called application awareness and deep packet inspection. And they have all the thing which all the firewall which we discuss. So you can use all those plus these 3-4 thing extra. Okay. Now the last thing to discuss is, as I say, nowadays you will see the firewall everywhere. It doesn't mean the firewall has to be deployed in between trusted and untrusted. No, it can be externally, it can be internally, it can be in data center, it can be in parameter, it can be an edge, it can be everywhere, it can be in different segment. So nowadays you will see the firewall everywhere. It doesn't mean to protect the untrusted boundary to the trusted. No, either from trusted to untrusted. You will see the firewall everywhere in organization. It depends on the organization requirement. So these are the different firewall technologies.